Hey everyone, and welcome back to making a plant monster, or tree monster. I realised that I kinda called it a plant monster on the last episode, but oh well. So the next thing I ended up doing was making some minor changes to the model mesh, and then I went straight back into going onto the faces and actually adding bunches of materials to create different colours on the model. Now, normally I would be unwrapping this model and actually going about texturing all the colours in manually using my Wacom tablet and all of that, but I decided to do it this way more out of both an interest in experimentation, because I always like to experiment with Blender, and also as a artistic choice, as I don't really want to really put a lot of effort in the colours and the textures. I might do that on a later day, but definitely not now. And as you can see, I'm just doing the experimentation now, and I'm trying to see what I could also do with the model itself. And obviously I would eventually choose just a default, I think, and just a colour. Next, I did more of the arms. I'm doing the arms in a more darker brown, and I will also end up fixing up the green leg. As you can see, I missed some bits while adding the colours. Once the model was complete, then there was just the needing to apply the mirror modifier and then start rigging the model, which both I did off screen. Okay, next step is the set itself. I needed to make the set, and I started off with a plane, and well, you can see what I'm doing. Now that that's done, I'm going to do the trees now. What you're currently seeing me do now is make both the trunk and the branches, and I'm just using it in a basic shape. I don't want these to be very complex trees. Once I finish and place the tree on one area, I will then duplicate it, and then I will continue to do that until I have enough on the scene, as well as modify them when needed to. As you can see, I have changed some of the materials, added some colors on parts of the set, and I'm also changing the colors of the background. This is just so that I can build up the set as it would be. The next step for me was to create the bushes that you would find in trees, and these were meant to be just simple and sculpted. And what I did is just I added a single sphere, and then I basically molded it to the shapes I needed to be, and I would make this kind of random, and then I would add material to this model as well. Now that everything is put in place, the next step for me was to do the final touch-ups of the set and to create the lighting, and the lighting will be the most important part for me. Now, what I ended up doing is I turned the light into a sun modifier. I think it's called a modifier, I can't remember what you did. But anyway, I moved it to the sun, and I started slowly changing the light saturation, and it was important that I get the right balance. Because as you can see at the moment, it's pretty aggressive, and I really did not want it to oversaturate the entire set itself. I wanted it to be at least in a good balance, and that's what I ended up slowly doing. As you can also see, I have also moved the camera, setting it up in position of where I would eventually be doing the final renders. With the lighting more or less figured out now, I then had to look at it, and I was thinking, the sky didn't look really good, so I decided to make adjustments with that. I would then, after doing that, I would then do a mock render to just basically see how things would look properly. And I looked at it, and there were some things that I needed to do a few adjustments, but once I've done that, I was more or less ready. Yeah, like as you can see, the camera, everything now was just about adjustments and adding minor things, changing a bit of color of the background, maybe changing the light. All of this was really just final fix-ups. With the majority of the set now done, all that I needed to do now was to import all of the necessary assets, particularly the plant monster, so that I can get him in position. And here is the fully rigged model, and now all I needed to do was just position him and then use both the skeleton and the camera to position the model in a pose that I felt was at least could feel natural for this thing. My only regret for this rig was that that obviously the tail and obviously the top part of the body was not connected, so it caused me to really warp it in a way that I didn't want it to, so I really started getting on with that. And another thing was these finger rigs, which I have actually been making other models and rigging them in the background, and I'm starting to use a much more different rig. Whether I'll continue using that rig is a completely it will depend on whether it works. I'm just slowly improving my rigs. I don't want to go too dramatic. And with everything done, all that is left is the finishing images, which I will show off very soon. This is Joshua Edley, and I'll see you later.